The Ute Trail connects us with a history that far exceeds the 100 or 200 years that we talk about for the Anglo settlers in this area. You can come down here to the Estes Park Museum and learn about that. Dr. Bob Brunswick is a world-renowned authority on the history of Native Americans in the Rocky Mountains.
The name Kawuneeche Valley is from an Arapaho word meaning coyote. And it turns out that the Kawuneeche Valley, believed by the Utes to be one of their origin places, where the Utes were basically thrown out of a bag that had been stolen by the coyote god, and the Utes dropped into the Kawuneeche Valley. So the Kawuneeche Valley is actually probably came from a Ute word that the Arapaho took over. The other thing that grew out of the park project was that we found a lot of rock-built walls and features and things that didn't fit in with, hunting. Didn't fit in with, getting food in various ways during the summertime. And so we began to investigate that. We came up with a new project that kind of spun off called the Sacred Landscapes Project. That project is still going on today. And the Sacred Landscapes Project is looking at how Native Americans used the world that they lived in and saw it as a spiritual place as well as a place to make a living, to get food. Just before the park was created in 1914, something rather interesting happened. And that was that the Colorado Mountain Club decided that they wanted to help justify the creation of Rocky Mountain National Park by looking at the indigenous cultural past of the park. And so they brought in two Arapaho. Well, the two Arapaho that were brought in had lived in the park as early as the 1840s. They'd lived there with their families. They had a knowledge of the park, and when they were there in the summertime. They took a pack trip that lasted about 12 days. They went throughout the park. They went through all the trails. They identified the trails as native trails. One was the one that goes over Trail Ridge called the Ute Trail. There was another one that went over Flat Top Mountain and came down on the other side of the Kawuneeche on the western side of the valley, called the Big Trail. There was another one that went up the Fall River Canyon, and then there were a bunch of smaller trails and things that they had described. These trails were also Native American trails going back probably 10,000 or more years ago. They had been used consistently by the various Indian groups that had lived in the park all that period of time. We documented more than 1,000 new sites, locations where humans had done something on the surface. 450 of those sites were Native American. One of the things that happened as we worked with the Northern Ute, they were surprised that we asked them to come into the park. You made us leave our traditional lands. You made us leave our home, and now you want us back? It really tells us a lot about ourselves. The Americans who came into that area forcibly removed. The Native Americans had been there for, if not thousands of years. After a while, though, we began to see that they felt happy to be home again. They felt that connection with those places. And we began to feel that connection as well. We began to learn.